Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our session, our crash course for this month. And according to the flyer, what we are talking about today is project-based learning. Project-based learning. We've talked about inquiry-based learning. We did that about 2 months ago. Last month, we talked about metacognition. And this month, we'll be talking about project-based learning. So we're going to go right in as I share my slide so that all of us will see what we're talking about. So, okay. Can you see my slides?
Yes, I can.
Oh, excellent. So this is what we'll be talking about today, project-based learning. And this session is brought to you by the Educators Hub. Okay. And my name is Praise God. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Praise God, and I'm the founder of the Educators Hub. So let's go. Why is this session important? Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I believe that many of us we've done projects before or given assigned projects to our students before. We did projects when we were in secondary school. For those of us that schooled in Nigeria, we've done projects and we know what project is. Yeah. So most teachers give projects at the of end of of the term understanding. But today is actually not. Like I said, most teachers they give the project end of the term. But project-based learning, also known as PBL, that is not it at all. Maybe they will tell you to draw something or to construct something, but it's usually at the end of the term. Mm. Now, at the end of this session, you're going to understand that PBL is not is different from the generic projects that your teachers give or that you give. That is what we're going to talk about. And you should get ready because you're going to build a project even on this call. So if you have anything that is distracting you, tell that thing to wait that you're busy. They're going to build a project in this call. So we're going to start with the PBL and what is not and what PBL is not. So many teachers believe that PBL is what you do after you're done with the content. After you finish teaching that particular topic, then you give them an assignment or you give them something to construct. You give them something to do at the end of the term. But that is not project. Yeah. So um, that's one that they do at the end of the term is just products. Not really, yeah, it's not project-based learning, basically. Yeah, it's not project. So PBL is a learning that is organized around a complex real-world problem or challenge. It's organized around a complex real-world problem or real-world challenge. So it's organized around the what is out there in the world, not just what you taught them or what you are going to teach them. So in PBL, students investigate the problem, they build knowledge to address the problem, and also produce something meaningful solution. The first one is a project. The first one is a product, but the second one is a solution. That's a normal generic project is a product, but PBL is a solution. So something meaningful. So PBL is actually what drives the learning. That is the that is the learning itself. not the other way around. For this first one, is it comes after the learning, but PBL comes before the learning. Yeah, it comes before the learning. So that's the difference between the two. Now let's give a proper definition to project-based learning. Project-based learning is a teaching method in which students gain knowledge and skills by working over an extended period to investigate to an authentic, engaging, and complex question or problem or challenge. You see that project-based learning, it's students work over an extended period of time. It's not something that they do once and that's all. So it takes time for them to do it, unlike the normal project that just comes at the end of the lesson. So the essence of project-based learning is to investigate and respond to authentic, engaging, and complex problem or complex challenge. Definition, we have three words that are standing out there. We have authentic, we have engaging, and we have complex. Yeah, so authentic means that the problem is real or the problem feels real, that the problem happens. Yeah, the issue that they're about to solve, it happens, it's real. That's what we mean by it being authentic. So it means that it connects to their actual world beyond the classroom, connects to the actual world of the students beyond the classroom. So the reason why students do this is because it really matters, and not just for a grade. The first one, the normal project, which is product, when we do it or when the students do it, uh, we usually give them, we usually score them, yeah, we usually score them to maybe to produce something artifact. But for this one, it's not because it matters. So that's the first word. The second, the problem or the challenge is interesting enough to sustain attention over days or weeks. Remember, in our definition, we say that it happens or students work over an extended period of time. So it can be days and it can be weeks, depending on how complex the topic is or how complex the project is. Yeah. In project-based learning, there is no obvious single correct answer. Every answer they bring is correct. Every answer, yeah, that's what they worked on because remember they investigated and they're responding to an authentic problem. So investigation of student A or results, yeah, from an investigation of student A might differ from the results of an investigation by student B. That's why we said there is no obvious correct answer. Now, the last word here is complex. Complex. It means that it requires deeper thinking, not just surface thinking. It requires critical thinking. It requires research. It requires collaboration. Sorry. It requires collaboration from the students. Normally, they do work together instead of doing it alone. And communication skill here, you're going to use the observation skill. A lot of skills will be used when you're working on project-based learning. And still on that complex, it cannot be answered from memory or with one paragraph or with one write-up. It's something that, remember, they researched on it and they have to bring something. It can be an article. It does not have to really be something. I don't know. Okay, it cannot be one paragraph. Yeah, it can be a whole article as a solution to the complex question or the complex problem or the challenge. Now let's go to the difference between the traditional projects, which is products and project-based learning. Like we said before, the traditional project comes at the end of the learning, but project-based learning drives the learning from the beginning. So it can start maybe the first topic that you want to teach them. First topic on the scheme, you start with it. Or maybe the topic is going to be like the fifth topic that or on that scheme. You can give it to them at the beginning of the term. they should go and make their research so that they have enough time to work on it. That is project-based learning. Now, traditional project summarizes what was taught, but PBL creates a reason to learn. It creates a reason to learn because it's when they bring their answers, when they bring the solutions to their problems, that is when you now start learning. For the traditional project, it's usually individual. They all go and do it at home by themselves, put it together. Traditional projects, one right answer or one right instruct, maybe to mold something. Usually to sit in fine arts. We're given to mold something. Yeah, is the what you are expected to mold is that thing that we are asked to mold. So that is for the traditional project. But for PBL, there are multiple valid approaches. Remember, we said that they are going to investigate. So results of investigation will differ, not might differ, will differ. Now, for traditional projects, we have is access on recall, access on what you've taught them. We say it comes at the end of learning. So it's assessed on what you taught them. But PBL is assessed on thinking and application. You've not taught them here. It's assessed on thinking and application. The last on this list is PBL is time limited. That is limited to one class, one session, or one period of the class. But PBL is extended over days or weeks. It's extended over days or weeks. Also, another difference is that PBL is a normal project, traditional project, is assigned by the teacher. But PBL is explored with the teacher as the guide. So the teacher is like a facilitator and guiding the this whole session from beginning to the end. But PBL, but project-based learning or normal project is assigned by the teacher, gives the students, they go home, figure it out themselves. The last here also is for traditional projects, project is the point, or product is the point. What they submit is the point of the traditional project. But for PBL, the process and the product, both of them matter. So because they're going to write down their process of thinking, yeah, and how they arrived at what they claim to be the solution to them. So that's the difference between traditional project and PBL. So we have real world examples. We're using biology as an example. So the traditional approach is the teacher teaches photosynthesis, and at the end of the teaching, students draw a label diagram and write an explanation. You see how straightforward it is. All the teacher does is to, okay, the students now submit, and the teacher marks. That is the traditional approach. But PBL, teacher is going to give a scenario. Now, this is a scenario now. When you look at it, same topic on photosynthesis. Teacher gives a scenario and tells the students to investigate and present recommendation. If we look at, we say a local farmer's crop yields dropped despite no change in method. Your team are agricultural consultants. Investigate and present your recommendation. Remember, the topic is photosynthesis. It's the same curriculum, but completely different reason. So, I want to know, okay, what are you trying to talk about? So they will now go and research, make if they have a farmer around them, ideas from the farmer to come to a conclusion, to give, remember we asked them to give a recommendation. So this is an example of the two difference between the two. Any question before we continue? Any question?
We're following.
Any question?
None for now.
Okay, none from my end.
Or
Can you hear
you
us?
type?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I was saying none for now.
Okay, okay, excellent. So let's go into the next part of our session today, and that is the 7 elements of project-based learning. So this is what is going to help you craft your own project-based units today. So like I said, you're going to craft one today. So get ready. When it's time, you're going to do that. And I can call on anybody to present. So we have the 7 elements. Like I said, not all projects qualify as PBL. Not all projects qualify as PBL. We've given the distinction between the two, the traditional project and project-based learning. And it's not every. Sorry. Yeah, I think every topic you can craft a PBL session from it. Yes, I believe that. Education, this institute is one of the leads around the research for PBL. They identified seven essential elements that separates genuine PBL from activity-based or from general projects. The first one is a challenging problem or question. We have challenging problem of question, we have sustained inquiry, we have authenticity, student voice and choice, reflection, very important, critique and revision, and a public product. So the end goal of this is a public product. But remember that from are also important. Are also important. So let's pick the elements one after the other. A challenging problem or a question. So the teacher starts with a driving question. That's what we call it, a driving question. You look for a real open-ended problem that anchors all learning or that anchors on the learning. Remember, real and open-ended. Remember that it does not have a right or a wrong answer. I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm sorry. Okay, we're back. So it should be complex enough to sustain inquiry. It should be complex enough to sustain inquiry over time. That is it. So before you draft a problem for the students will work on, it must be complex enough to sustain inquiry over time. But complex and relevant enough. Yeah, relevant enough so that it will be something that they can attest to. Yeah, something that students should care about. Something that cannot be just searched. They can just go to any search engine and ask, because it has to do with their own investigation. It has to do with what they find out. So we have example. Example is, how can we reduce plastic waste in our school community? You can see that this is a very serious question. It's a driving question. When you say it, first of all, they will go, they will not start thinking. So this is one example of a challenging problem or question. Another example is, how do we design a safer road crossing for our neighborhood? Just maybe you want to teach transportation or you want to teach safety. Yes, you can use this as a driving question. Okay. Or maybe a mishap happened school, in front of the school, and they know about it. You can ask them, okay, this so happened the other day. What do you think we can do to make our roads better? You see, it has to do with what they will now think about. So it cannot be Googled in one search. They have to research, make deeper investigation, ask deeper questions before they'll be able to give an answer. Now, the second element is sustained inquiry. Sustained inquiry. We say that PBL happens over time, maybe, or weeks. Please, can you mute yourself?
No.
We say that PBL happens over time, over some days or over some weeks. So, hold on. Okay. So it's not a one-day activity. Students investigate over time. Ms. Oluwatoyin, please mute yourself. Thank you. Students investigate over time, over an extended period of time. They ask questions to those in their community, ask questions to their parents, then they test ideas. They also revise, even as they build knowledge. So the teacher designs the learning experiences that build the knowledge, but students need to answer the driving question. Teacher gives the driving question, but students need to answer the question. The third element is authenticity. Authenticity. We say that authenticity is connecting to a real world or a real community problem or tasks that professionals actually do, not just something abstract or something that they can't offer to somebody. You understand? It just has to be something that they have a problem that they have solution to, not just something random or something that there's no solution to it. So authenticity is what separates PBL from creative busy work. Creative busy work is the traditional method of of project learning. Now let's go to the fourth element, which is student voice and choice. Student's voice and choice. So here now, genuine decision within the teacher's structure. So the teacher will teach the student how to investigate, what to do, what to focus on, and how to present. But it will be in the student's voice and in the student's choice. All the teacher does is to facilitate and assist where necessary, but everything will be in the student's voice. And you know that ownership drives engagement. When the student has done it, the student will be interested in telling you, okay, I went to this place, I went to this place, I asked this person, I went to this site, I went to this website, and I checked on this. Maybe I listened to this podcast, or I listened to this video, and all that. So that is student voice and choice. The fifth one is reflection. Reflection. This one is built throughout the process, not just at the end. So when they work, they think, okay, what am I doing wrong? Okay, this or that, what am I learning? Yeah, am I really understanding the essence of this topic? So students reflect on learning, reflect on collaboration with others, and also reflect on process. This is where metacognition lives inside PBL. You see that metacognition also made its way in this topic. Metacognition is everywhere. So metacognition is very important when you're building a project-based learning session. Session. So you teach your students, that's why I say you teach your students how to think, so that when you give them a project to come up with, they can also think through their learning. The sixth one is critique and revision. Critique and revision. This is where feedback comes in, feedback from peers, feedback from you, feedback from maybe outsiders, experts, feedback from also the students too. First of all, they will go through before they will submit. Remember that the first draft is never the final product. Just like, okay, yeah, we have a very good example. Just like when you wrote your research project in your undergraduate on your master's, the first draft is never the final product. Never. Your work is given to various lecturers. They will now read through, make corrections. You will still come and present, do your presentation. This is number 7 now. You do your presentation, share it with an audience that is not just the teacher, real audience. Still, corrections might be still made under your project before you now submit the final copy of that project. So research project is a very good it's a very good project-based learning. Yeah. I didn't think about it. It's a very good project-based learning. Now let's go into the main tool of PBL. The main tool of PBL is the driving question. Very, very important. The driving question is your most important tool. So everything that is in a PBL unit all comes from this driving question. Yeah. So a strong driving question or a weak driving question produces weak learning. And a strong driving question produces deep engagements. Yes. So that's why driving question will determine how strong your class is going to be, or how strong the students are going to learn, or how weak the learning is going to be. Now, we have some characteristics of the driving question. The first one is it is open-ended. Open-ended. Open-ended means that there is no single correct answer. It's a question that's A or B is not the correct answer. It has no single correct answer. So it's open-ended. The second one is it's aligned to curriculum goals. Remember, you're teaching your students a topic in the curriculum, and the curriculum must already have objectives. So a PBL session must align to curriculum goals. The next characteristic is it has to be provocative. It has to create genuine desire for the students to investigate. You see why your driving question has to be very, very strong. Because if you ask them a question that has a yes or and a no answer, they'll just give you the yes and no answer and go away. They won't really think, they will not really be interested in investigating. Also, a driving question characteristic is it should be accessible from the student's own experience. So you can't tell them to find something that they can't relate with or something that they've not experienced. It has to be something that it might not be a very robust experience, but to an extent, yeah, to an extent. So depending on the class you're teaching anyway. Also, driving questions should be challenging because you know that it lasts over a period of time. PBL lasts over a period of maybe 1 week or days. So the question has to be sustained. Has to be sustained. So we have examples. A weak driving question is what are the effects of pollution? They will write it down for you and submit. You see, there's one correct answer here. But a strong driving question is how is air quality in our city affecting community health? And what should our local leaders do about it? You can see that the question is deeper now. The question is deeper now. So it's not just asking them what are the effects. Both questions are asking the same thing, effects of pollution. Yeah. But the other is affecting the quality do about it. Any question before we continue? Before we go to the next session, next part. Exactly. Thank you, Ms. Aisha. They'll end up listing it for you. Simply listing it for you. Yeah. You see, they'll just write it down for you. But if it's the second one, they will think first, they make their research and submit and give you a final product. Thank you very much for that addition. Any question before we move on? Any question? You can use the chat if where you are is noisy or you mute yourself. Any question? Any question from us? Should I continue? Should I go on? Hope you can hear me. Thanks.
Yes, we
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So should I move on? I think I'm allowed to move on.
Yes, please.
Okay. So let's go to the next section of this, and that is how a PBL unit works, the 5 phases of a PBL. 5 phases of a project-based learning. The first one is the launch phase. The second one is the build knowledge phase. Present and reflect. So a well-designed PBL unit moves through these 5 phases. Yeah. And it's you, the teacher, that will design all 5 before the unit begins. It's you that will design all 5 even before it's time for that topic. I said that you want to, maybe you've looked at the scheme of work and you've seen that, okay, there's a topic here that will work very well, work excellently as a project-based, that project-based learning will work for. You start working on this immediately, not when it's time. You now rush. So you will design the 5 phases. All the students now need to do inquiries. Now, the first phase, which is the launch phase, So this one is usually depending on the topic also and on the class. You can create genuine, especially if it's a topic knowledge in. So you can build a genuine curiosity in them so that the students will be interested, will lean in, and they want to know, okay, why is this problem real, and why level idea, entry event ideas. It can be a documentary or a news clip about a real issue. Remember, we used the pollution in the first example. Yeah, that is our rivers dams are blocked. You see, that is a real issue. When it rains, everywhere is flooded. That is a real issue. So it can be a documentary, it can be a news clip. We also have a guest speaker from the field. You can invite somebody that has 1 or 2 things to say about that topic. We also have field visits or photograph should be better. What do you think the company would have done to be better? I remember we normally do go on field trip. So the students, they will go to a company that produces plastic. That's where they go. So they'll go and observe. Nobody teaches them anything. The only people that teach them like this, because we are going to the factory. So is the manager there? This is great piece of plastic glass. We mix it, we melt it, we do this and mold it. So teaching and explaining, they are taking notes because they are going to go home, go to their class, and need to write a report on what. So this is field display. So you can maybe this is what is happening. What do you think a solution should be? We also have a shocking stat, an artifact. All these things must be related to the problem. Please, solution, and tell them to go and research to confuse the students. So they go really wanting to know more. Remember, we're working on their curiosity. We want to be interested in wanting to know more. So that is the essence of the launch. So at the end of the launch, students will now generate their Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Okay, thanks. I don't know what happened. I was suddenly kicked out for a reason. So let's continue. Let's continue. We're talking about launch. We're talking about launch. Yes. So we said that the question or the session should be, they should leave that place interested to know, curious to know. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So your students should leave the class curious to know more about the topic that you're about to that they're about to work on. Yeah, they're about to work on. So the next the fifth stage, yeah, the fifth stage is the sorry. Okay. So phase two is build knowledge and skills. So this is where they now build knowledge. So this is the duration is usually the whole like the whole majority of the units. Remember that this is one topic. It's one topic we're looking at. Yeah. So the duration of this second phase is the whole of the unit. So this is where the curriculum content lives. This is where everything that has to do with that topic, this is where everything now happens. This is where the lesson or every lesson here question. Remember, we have the driving question. So the difference between the traditional method of teaching is that every lesson is connected to the driving question. Yeah, every lesson is connected to the driving question. That's different between this one and that of normal projects. So here, students are learning something in order to use it to answer the driving question. Yes, this is usually when they are now investigating or when you're telling them what to do, they will now research. So the answer is they answer this question. You know, students are always curious to know this thing you're teaching us. What do we want to do with it? What's the relevance of what you're teaching us to our life? So this is where they answer that question. Is during this session that they answer that question. So it comes in different method or activities. It can be research sessions, it can be expert interviews, it can be lab experiments, it can be skills and workshop, it can be reading and analysis. That is, they themselves reading, they themselves going to read. Yes, you still teach during a PBL session. That you're doing a PBL does not eliminate teaching totally from the equation. You still teach because that is the unit that you're considering. So phase three is inquiry and investigation. So this one runs alongside phase two. Investigate and check, come back again, still maybe you give them a research session, they'll go investigate inquiries, ask questions. So this alongside phase two. So here, students investigate their specific angle of the driving question. So they can do this in maybe in teams of 2 or 3, or do it alone before you now group them. So they gather evidence, they test ideas, they consult sources, and also develop their own understanding. What we are heading for is that understanding that they develop. Yeah. So here the teacher facilitates. All the teacher does is ask questions, redirects, and helps the teams or help the students when they are stuck, and also connect the learning that is going on, connect the learning from the lesson. So they will bring a connection between the lesson that they are getting and the learning into the process of inquiry. So that's all you do. All you do is to just help ask. You will give them the question, obviously, then you just direct them. Maybe when they are veering off path, you redirect them so that they are not confused. Or when they are stuck, give them a solution The fourth phase is critique and revision. Critique and revision. So the duration of this one is 1 to 2 lessons before the final product. You say that the first draft is not always the final product. So here, the teams, they share their draft, share what they come up with each other, maybe with teammates or with other members of other teams, that they will go through it, make corrections. The team will share, each team will make correction and give it back to them. You can also go through it, and or someone outside the classroom can also go through it. So they will receive structured feedback, then they will revise, go through what they've written again before they now submit. So this phase is non-negotiable. It is very, very important. It's what separates a mediocre PBL from a truly powerful PBL. Remember, the goal of PBL is to raise problem solvers, not just those that are aware of problems. We need to raise those that will solve problems when the problems come up. Now, the fifth and the last phase is present and reflect. Present and reflect. So here, the teams present to the public audience, or it can be to a community. It can be to their principal, depending on the topic. It can be to their parents. Yeah, maybe one PTA or one program in the school. They can present to it. Of course, it's something that is worth presenting. So the teams present to their final products to a public audience. Now, after that, the class still goes back to reflect and say, okay, what did we learn? This investigation that we did over time, what did we learn? What should we have done differently? What surprised us from our investigation? And what questions do we still have that we can answer? Remember, I'm still using the normal research project that we do. After your project, there is a place that you do recommendation and further learning, further what now, further investigation or something like that. So this is where it comes in its last phase. Let's go to the next section, which is now your role with the teacher, your role in PBL. Because we'll be talking about students all this while. What is now your role as teacher in this process? So in this process, you are the architect, you are the designer, you're not the answer. You're not the source of all the answers. In fact, you can't you can't be the source of all the answers. It's not possible for you to know everything. Knowledge is everywhere now. So what you do here, you the teacher, is you are just the designer. So in traditional teaching, the teacher transfers knowledge. But in PBL, teacher designs an experience that leads students to build knowledge themselves. Experience that leads students to build knowledge themselves. Yeah. So it's very important for you as a teacher to understand, have this mental shift that you are not the only source of answers anymore. All you need to do is to build experiences that will make your students to be interested in building knowledge. We're talking about low attention span in schools now. And one thing that fuels low attention span is our methods of teaching, methods of delivery. Some of them are boring. Yeah, sorry to say, but some of them are boring, that your students will really easily lose attention. So now, what do you now do as the teacher? You still have something to do. You are the architect. Yeah, you are not doing much, but you're still doing something. So before the unit, you design the driving question. This is the most important part of PBL. You design the driving question, because if you don't get driving question, the PBL is going to fall flat. So you design the driving question. You also map up the curriculum content to the project. Make sure that the curriculum content, make sure that the project is related to the curriculum content. Curriculum content being the curriculum goals. So also before the unit, the teacher plans the 5 phases and timelines. Remember the 5 phases we mentioned. Teacher plans the 5 phases and timelines. Teacher also identify the public audience that they will deliver or that will present the project to. The teacher also prepares learning resources. maybe by referring them to a website where they can go and read, or referring them to the library. That's also part of preparing learning resources. Finally, the teacher anticipates where students will get stuck and prepares for support. Because when you're preparing for something, you know your students, you know where they might be a little bit shaky. You now have you can have questions that the students might ask you. You just have it at the back of your mind and have solutions, so that when they come, you won't be blank, or you just not know what to say. That's one thing we don't know. So during the units, during the process of PBL, the teacher launches the project with energy and with intensity. So you start the project with energy. Remember, you've already designed the driving question. Driving question has to be engaging. So you launch the project with energy. The teacher also teaches the necessary content, but still tie it to the driving question. You teach the necessary content, but tie it to the driving question. Teacher also facilitates without taking over. Remember, we said that facilitating is asking questions, anticipating where they might feel stuck, and provide answer. That is all you do. Facilitate. You don't take over. You don't write the project for them, or you don't do the project for them. Facilitate. Also, the teacher gives structured feedback. Even before the feedback, teacher monitors the group dynamics and intervenes when necessary. Maybe a group, they are not agreeing on a particular point. The teacher can intervene and bring a balance to the group. Remember, you're not taking over. Here, the teacher also asks questions instead of giving answer. All your job to do is to ask questions. And also, the teacher also documents students' progress, because you're going to use it as an anecdotal for future. You will not know when you will need it, but you will need it. So you record their progress, and also you give structured feedback. Now, throughout the PBL process, you try as much as possible to resist giving answers. Because, when our students are finding it difficult to find answers to a particular problem, or a particular question, we are quick to offer answers. So you have to try as resist that urge of giving answers. Again, the teacher all trusts the process, even when it is messy, because PBL will be messy. Remember, you're trying to produce a finished and a final product. Let's also use our project as an example. If you check very well, you have a lot of papers, drafts for the chapter 1 to chapter 5. So that is the mess that comes with project-based learning. Also, the teacher adjusts based on students' needs. So based on what the students need, teacher adjusts, makes corrections where necessary. And also, the teacher monitors the group's dynamics throughout the PBL unit. So let's go forward. Now, these are the kind of questions that the teacher can ask during a PBL session. So you can say, what do you already know about this topic that might help here? Maybe you're teaching them pollution now. You can ask them, what do you already know about pollution that might help your work? They will have something to say. Yeah, they have something to say. You can also ask them, what does your evidence actually tell you? Now they've gone for investigation and their research. You can ask them, okay, what you found out, what does it tell you about the topic? So that is one of the questions you can ask. You can also ask the students, where can you find more information about this particular topic? It's also part of the question you can ask. So these are some of the questions that you can use to drive a PBL session. So let's go to the next before we go into. Now I told you that you're going to do some work. So before we go into the work, so like I said, as we said that PBL is going to be messy, will be messy. So you allow it to be messy. PBL is not linear. It's not a straight line. It has a lot of curves, sometimes you still come back to where you started. Maybe they are moving and they will hit a dead end. They will come back and start again. You see that it's not linear. It has a lot of curves. So yeah, the teams will get confused. Yeah, they will get confused. They will argue. In fact, they should argue. Yeah, they should argue, but not fight. Inquiry can lead to dead ends. Plans can change. And yes, PBL is not linear. So just know that it is not failure. That is what real problem solving exactly looks like. Those the scientists that discovered a lot of things, they went through series of trying and error, trying and hitting dead ends or meeting with error, but they still came back to what they wanted to get. So your job now as a teacher is do not eliminate the messiness. Yeah, encourage it, but make sure that the messiness is productive. Productive being the operative word. Make sure that the mess that the students are creating is productive. Is better for your students to be productively confused than for them to be lost. Yeah, it's better for them to be productively confused than for them to be lost and not be part of what is going on. It's better for them to ask questions, get it wrong, and ask questions again. So the teacher, all you need to do is you just learn how to tell the difference between confusion, genuine confusion, and being lost. So you make the messiness productive and learn to tell the difference. Now let's go into our session, how you now design a PBL session. Yeah. So are we ready? Who is with me? Who is with
Yes, ma.
Well, with you.
Are we ready? Can you hear me? Okay, are we ready for our session? Can you hear me? Please confirm. Are we ready for our PBL session?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I need you now to, what you need to do now is, this is an example, this is a framework I've given you. You need to design a project-based learning session for your subject and for your level. We have 10 minutes. Okay, we have 12 minutes to do that. So you identify a real world problem. You write your driving question based on the example. See the examples by the side. You now connect it to the curriculum. You plan your entry events. How will you launch this? Then you identify the product and the audience that you're going to work with. So let's go. Let's start. We'll continue by 8 8:13. This 8:01. We continue by 8:13. We'll just come and conclude. Okay. So I can call on anybody to present what they've done. So do something. Do something. I can call on you to present what you've done. So let's go. Okay, sorry, Miss Catherine. I just saw your question now. You said you don't understand what we mean by identifying what? Identifying the products and the audience. Okay. Um, Identifying the product now is what will your students produce? When you look here at this slide, you see that what will students produce? Assuming that the topic you want to teach is pollution, are they going to come up with an article? Are they going to come up with a drama? Or what are they going to come up with that there'll be a solution to the problem? I don't know if you understand me now, Miss Catherine. There'll be a solution to the problem. Now the audience is, okay, this product now, who is it for? Is it for the community leader? Is it for community members?
Recording in progress.
Okay. I don't know if Miss Catherine is understanding what I'm explaining. Miss Catherine, I hope she's still here. If you understand, please let me know.
Yes, please. I'm getting you. Yes. Sorry, I was trying to
Okay.
unmute.
So you understand what I mean by the product now? Excellent, excellent. Okay. If you're ready with your work, let me know. We have 4 minutes to the
I'm
end
ready.
of this
I'm ready.
session. Okay, you're ready. Okay, let's
Yes.
hear what you have.
Okay. The topic is water pollution and water
Let's
treatment.
start with your driving question.
Okay, with my driving question, how can
Or
we
let's
use
start with
chemistry
the
to
real
provide?
world problem.
Okay.
Start with the real
Many
world
communities
problem
struggle
first.
with polluted water caused by improper waste disposal, industrial
Can't hear
activities,
you.
and poor sanitation. Now, how do you say, ma? Hello, ma. Many communities struggle with polluted water caused by improper waste disposal, industrial activities, and poor sanitation. Contaminated water affects human health, agriculture, and the environment. Students will investigate the cause of water pollution and propose practical methods for treating water use basic chemistry principle. So the driving question is, how can we use chemistry to provide safe and clean drinking water for our community using affordable and locally available materials? Hello, ma.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm
Can
here.
you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So moving on to the next. Linking it to the curriculum. So the topic is going to be water solution, water and solution, purification of water. So the objectives is to identify common source of water pollution, explain the physical and chemical method of water purification, investigate the properties of clean and polluted water, design a simple water filtration system using a locally available material, apply scientific investigation and problem solving skills to real life situations. So how do we identify the audience or identify the products? So the students will present their findings and prototypes to the school principal and teacher, their fellow students, maybe their parents, the community leader, and the local environment health of officials, if they are available.
Okay.
Also, they are going to develop 21st century skills like critical thinking, collaboration, communication, creativity, scientific inquiry, problem solving. So for the assessment, they will be assessed based on accuracy of scientific concepts, creativity, function of
Yeah.
and functionality of the water filter, their teamwork and participation, their
Yes.
presentation and communication, then their written report and reflection. That is all.
Okay. So I need to find out what's the driving question again. I didn't get that.
Okay, how can we use chemistry to provide safe and clean drinking water for our community using affordable and locally available materials?
Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense. So the real world problem is water pollution, right? Or dirty water.
Yes. Water pollution and water treatment.
Okay. So anyway, you have
Yes.
something else to okay. Oh, thank you. Let me call on Miss Catherine.
I'm sorry, I need to pass, please.
Okay. It's all right. Miss Nelly, let's hear from you. You need to pass too. I hope your network will allow you.
Okay, let me try.
All right.
Okay. Um, the real world problem is just I'm taking it from sorry, I'm coming. I'm taking it from just the environment, how the student notices some issues around their environment and how they can use French to create that the awareness and encourage positive change. So the question, I don't know if you understand it. Okay. In English is how can we use French to educate our community about keeping the environment clean? Comment pouvons-nous utiliser le français pour sensibiliser notre communauté à un environnement propre? So that's the real world problem. That's the driving question. Then the curriculum connection is the student will not develop the French vocabularies relating to the environment with using the 4 skills, the speaking, the reading, the writing, and the listening skills, while they learn about as they learn about the environment and their civic responsibility. So the entry event will be that the students will take a community walk around, then watch a short video to identify those environmental problems around the school. Then they would now create French posters, short videos, presentations to promote environmental awareness. So the audience now, I'm coming. The audience is first of all, the school community.
Yeah.
Then parents and learners too.
Great, great. I love this. I love it. I love it. So it means that
my thing is breaking up. Oh my God. Hello, can you all hear me? It's like she's out. I guess the network is disturbing. Oh, my God. Network, network. Can you all hear me?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
So we're looking at how project-based learning looks across different subjects, across various subjects. Let me share with my screen. Okay, I've joined back. So let me share my screen. We're almost at the end of our session for today. Okay, so how PBL looks across various subjects. We have the first one. The first subject here is, okay, now the first subject here is biology. Let's wait for my screen. Yeah, okay. The first subject here is biology. And the driving question is, how is poor sanitation affecting community health and what should be done? Is it now that we are coming to the end? You're showing yourself. How poor sanitation is affecting public health and what should be done? That is the driving question. And the public products, yeah, or the audience is, you have the local health, or you report it to the local health officer, the person you're going to report it to. So this is an example of how a good PBL looks across subjects. We have mathematics, an example in French. Mr. AY has given us an example in chemistry. So if you take a look at this public product, you can see that almost all of them are talking about a general problem, or problem that they know. Yeah, problem that they know about. So that is it for how it looks across different subjects. Yes, now let's go to challenges. Of course, a good PBL has challenges. Students, teachers will face challenges when it comes to organizing a PBL session. The first one is curriculum time and large classes. Some of us teach in a government school where we have large class size. So teachers complain that their curriculum is too full, that they might not be able to finish up. But curriculum does not add content. It teaches the same content, but it teaches it differently. It teaches the same content, but it teaches it differently. So it does not add. Minutes per term. You don't have to do 5. Look at the results before you know if you're going to do another. Plan it before time so that just my face is, teachers can say that this is where structure comes in. We have group manager, we have researcher, recorder, presenter. All of them are working on one particular topic. All of them are working on, sorry, I'm back. All of them are working on one particular topic, but they have different rules. So all these rules will finally come together and present one result, one project. So the noisier a PBL class is, the more your students are thinking. Remember, students think when a PBL class is going on. The next complaint or the next challenge that a teacher might have is that some students might not want to be interested, or some students will do all the work, especially the high flyers. They want to do all the work. They believe that other students are slow or other students cannot do it. So this is where you build individual accountability. Remember, you assign roles. Now you can pick someone from the group and now ask the person, okay, what during this process of investigation, what did you learn? And the person will be forced to join in the process of the project. Yeah. A book, exercise book, where they can be logging in their contribution or logging in what they are doing on each off track. Students, yeah, even if they are grown, they are still children. Bring them back again. Remember, you are the facilitator. You put them within scope so that they don't go off. You give them resources that they should use, where they can find the resources and the project requirements. You make them understand, okay, we're talking about pollution, or we're talking about air pollution. We are not talking about water pollution. So this is where you define your scope and bring them back to the essence of the project or what you're talking about. Also, you can have an issue or a situation where a teacher can say teacher does not know enough about the topic. You don't actually need to know enough about the topic. In fact, the process of investigation and process of reporting that the students will give you will give you more insight about the topic that you're complaining that you don't know enough. So you know the curriculum, you have the curriculum. Check it out, try. Of course, you should know more than your students. Check and try it as you research, as the students are researching, you yourself, you're also researching. You can tell your students, let's research together. And all of you will research together. While you go deeper, then they can just stop at the level that they can. Any question? Any question? Okay. I don't think we have. Okay, let me read from these reflection questions. Which of the 5 PBL phases will be hardest class? Your students, your subjects, yes. So which of the 5 PBL phases might be difficult to implement? The 5 phases that we have again is the launch, build knowledge, inquiry and investigation, critique and revision, and present and reflect. So which of them might be difficult for you to build? Which of the 5 phases? Okay. Okay. Which of the 5 phases might be difficult for you to build? Anyone? Anyone?
Are you asking which among this will be difficult to do? Hello, Ma. Are you asking
You said which of the
any
5?
of this? Okay.
Which of these 5 phases might be difficult for you to build in your context?
My name is Catherine. I don't think I have any difficulty in in imparting all these 5 phases. Like the first phase, that's
Okay.
launch, I want to see it as my introductory. Then my number 2, I want to see it as the content. And number 3, I want to also see it as trying to evaluate.
The evaluation.
Yes, trying to ask questions, go deeper than the yes and no questions that make the children to think and give answers. Then the critic and revision, present and reflect. I think I understand this critic and revision. Critic and revision is something is not clear to me. The revision, yeah, but critic, I don't understand that.
Okay. So when we come to, is that all? Do you have any other question? Do you have any other question before I answer? Okay. So we're talking about critique and revision. You need more clarification on that, on the two. So that's phase 4. So like we said, the first drafts of a project is not always the final basis of corrections and all that. So here in critique and revision, the teams, either they share their draft with different teams. Team 1 will share their drafts with team 2. Maybe team 2 will give their draft to team amongst different teams. Remember, they work in teams. They share it among different teams, or even give it to the teacher or somebody outside of the classroom who will now go through it, go through the drafts, make corrections, receive structured feedback. Then they themselves will now go back, that's the producers, will now go back and revise what they've done. I'm going to use an example again of the normal undergraduate or postgraduate project. When you write your project, you submit it to your supervisor. You'll be asked to make supervisor. Your supervisor will take it to either the head of department or coordinator. Now the coordinator is going to distribute lecturers who will go through it and make corrections. That is critiquing. So when they make corrections, they would send it back to the HOD or to the organizer or to the whoever it is that give it to them. That person will give it back to you, the students. You will now revise. That is the corrections that they made. You will now work on the corrections and revise and produce another copy. So that is critiquing and revising. I don't know if I've answered your question, Ms. Catherine.
Yes, please. Thank you. Revising and
Okay.
critiquing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Any other question before we call it a night? So I need you to understand that PBL is catered. PBL is not an extra, but it's remember that you're going to connect whatever it is you want to teach to what your students are already familiar with or what they already know. You can't teach something that is from nowhere, something that they can relate to. So that's what we mean by making learning meaningful, making learning mean something. So when your students work on a problem that matter, they don't need to be motivated. So they don't need extra motivation or extra push. So yeah, that work that they are going to do now, coming up with a suitable project or suitable solution, that is reason enough for them to work on it. Yeah, for them to work on it. So they don't need to be extremely motivated. They're already motivated. So your students are capable of far more than you can explain, that or that you can know. Gone are the days of recall and repetition repetition. No, now we are in the days of production, where students produce something that will be meaningful, not just to them, meaningful to their community, meaningful to their society, meaningful to where they find themselves. So for PBL, you don't need a perfect first unit. No, you don't need a perfect first unit. That your first drafts that you've already built, that's all you need. You build it like you've done today. You run with it. You learn from it. You improve it, and yeah, that's actually how you grow, even as a teacher. So we've come to the end of our session today. My name is Praise God, and I am the founder of the Educators Hub. So this session is brought to you by Educators Hub. The Educators Hub is a gathering of teachers, yeah, where teachers meet, teachers learn, teachers are taught. So this crash course is monthly. There is a monthly affair. We do it monthly, second Saturday of every month. So yeah, basically, the Educators Hub is where where you find teachers. Teachers are learning through different. We have different things, different activities that we do. Some of us here are part of that hub. If you're not there, I'm going to drop the link on the I'm going to drop the link on that WhatsApp group chat so that you will join us and be part of what we are doing. So thank you for coming.
Thank you
Now you
so
know what
much.
PBL
We
is.
appreciate
You're welcome.
this was insightful. I really
You're
appreciate
very
the section,
thank you.
honestly.
Thank you. I'm so happy to have you here with me.
Yes. Thank you for the class, ma.
You're welcome.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
We appreciate. Thank you.
We
You're
appreciate.
welcome.
Thank you, Grandma.
All right. You started, Abby.